TCU, and Houston, all at Desert Financial Arena.
And another steal ahead to Miller, and Miller reverses it up and in, and he's fouled. Holy moly.
Join the action and get your Sun Devil men's basketball tickets today by calling 480-727-0000 or go online to sundeviltickets.com.
Now open in Scottsdale. It's United Forte Custom Door Showroom with 40,000 Euro doors and hundreds of state-of-the-art designs and finishes on display, plus kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and more, all at wholesale prices. Builders, contractors, designers, and yes, you. Come see our showroom on Greenway Hayden Loop. That's United Forte, P-O-R-T-E. Stop by to see and feel the quality. United Forte Custom Doors. Find us at uporte.com. That's uporte.com.
There's something you can do today that will impact all your tomorrows. Open an AZ 529 Education Savings Plan. Contribute just $50 a month, and you'll have nearly $20,000 by your child's high school graduation, or as a great start towards your own education savings. Your money grows tax-free and can be used for college, vocational school, or workforce training. Learn more at az529.gov. Do it today for all your tomorrows.
This message is sponsored by the Office of the Arizona State Treasurer.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM. Wherever you go, take us along. Listen to our live stream on our free Fanatic app. Download it today.
And it's time to get on with the opening spiel here on Beat the Book. It's Friday. I think you understand all of the things. I'm Keon Rose. My broadcast partner is our betting expert, Dylan Cohen. We're broadcasting live from the Harmon Solar Studios in sunny uptown Scottsdale here at 1580 The Fanatic. Today on the show, well, I think you know. There was a Thursday night football game last night. We've got a good run of Thursday night football games actually being good, enjoyable, close, exciting, thrilling, come from behind game by the Baltimore Ravens.
But predictable, you know.
But predictable. I mean,
which is good for us. That means we're winning bets.
That means we're winning bets, and we'll talk about what we won in just a moment here. Segment one, obviously, we're going to get into Thursday night football and talk about what Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow did. Only 8 passing touchdowns between the two of them, no big deal. And then we'll get to Alex Kane in hour number 2. He is the CEO of Sport Trade, and he's going to obviously break down what we're doing this week with our Cardinals win probability picks contest, which, by the way, week 9's winner, Kringleberry, he had 64% in that. And we already had some submissions come in early yesterday. So time to start sending those in. You can send those in right up until kickoff of the Cardinals game on Sunday, though it would be easier if you sent them in today or sent them in tomorrow morning on Without Interruption, Keon Rose, just because I'll already be here. Then I can see it and write it down, and it's a little easier for me to find. But if you send it in Sunday morning, we'll find it. We'll figure it out. That's okay. You're on the text line, 888-368-1580. How did your bets go last night? Did you make a lot of money on the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals? There were big yards, big numbers, lots of things, lots of overs maybe involved. So we'll go ahead and talk about that too. But before we get to all of those things, Dylan, who powers the show?
We are powered by Sport Trade. And as Keon mentioned, stick around for segment number 2. That is when Sport Trade CEO Alex Kane will be joining the program. And Alex is going to be covering the next weekly contest that Sport Trade has been running on this show. The prizes are a $100 Amazon gift card and a $50 cash credit sent to your Sport Trade account for you to place some wagers with. So you do not need to have that Sport Trade account set up in order to participate. So if you're happening to catch this for the first time ever and you don't really know about this contest, but you like $100 Amazon gift cards, you like opportunities to get extra betting cash to try and win some more money with.
And Hoopst Among Us does not like that. Robert's from Surprise, by the way, saying, my under was looking good until the second half. Had a 4-pick parlay. I should have taken the over. Yeah, it looked like things might be a little low scoring there in the beginning, and well, there you go.
So just make sure that, if you haven't already, search Sport Trade on your smartphone, download the app, use promo code 1580 to take advantage of their first time account setup promotion for the 10% cash back. And then, yes, Keon, God, the under last night. If you happen to catch yesterday's show, Keon and I had a discussion about, what we were expecting out of Thursday night football last night. And, it was something where on paper, it seems like this game is going to go a certain way. And the right way to bet it is to bet it the way that it does look to us analytically on paper. But there's just that humanity that kind of gets into the way. And I know for me, I was dealing with a lot of skepticism. I was worried that, you just go all out on the over, you go all out on, Lamar passing yards over, Joe Burrow passing yards over, and somewhere in there, someone's going to let you down. I mean, that's just like the natural motions that you go through when you do play sports bets pretty consistently. And, if you are someone that does like to wager often, then, I mean, exactly what I'm talking about here. Somewhere down the line, someone that was supposed to come through for you where everything on paper pointed to that person having a good day, just led to them, coming up short. And that was something that I was dealing with, betting on Baker Mayfield to get over on his passing yards in his last game against the Chiefs. I dealt with it with taking Joe Flacco's passing yards in his most recent game, and neither of those bets, panned out. So here we go. It was another day where it seemed like the right thing to do was to take the overs on Lamar Jackson passing yards, on Joe Burrow passing yards. We said more than likely this is going to be another high scoring game. The last game, I believe, had, what was it? It was like 72 points combined.
Yeah, it was something like that. That was an overtime game. Crazy numbers in that game too.
So, we're looking at, what we wanted to do with our bets yesterday, and, just had to kind of overcome those feelings of, being skeptical of the ultimate result. And you just had to push through it and trust your gut and go with this being another high scoring matchup. And that's exactly what we got. Final score 35-34. Ravens end up winning this one, 69 total points. That over under yesterday during the program, it was right at about 52.5. So obviously, if you took that under, it was looking great come halftime. Don't get me wrong. That first half of the game,
really good.
First half was just uncomfortable. First half was bringing up all these fears, all these feelings that you and I talked about here on the show. It looked like the game I was dreading. I was worrying about. Lamar just could not get the offense going in that first half. But it didn't matter. This is MVP Lamar Jackson that we're working with here. He doesn't need a full game to get ridiculous stats. And that's exactly what he did yesterday.
Yeah.
He came in the second half, 28 points from the Ravens between the third and fourth quarter. And Lamar ends up finishing with 290 passing yards, goes well over his line. It was like 232.5, I want to say. It was somewhere in that neighborhood. So, if you were someone that played it a little conservative at 225 plus, you won. You took him for 250 plus for over even money, you won. If you took him at 275 plus, like how I mentioned on the show, that was over 2-1 odds. Those were excellent straight bets to make. Definitely some good parlay combinations from yesterday, especially if you were a believer in Ja'Marr Chase touchdowns. Oh my gosh. Text us 888-3680 or 368-1580, excuse me. Let us know what you won yesterday. I have to imagine we had some winners out there. I told you a little bit about this before, but I did this whole kind of two-leg combination of Lamar Jackson's passing yards and Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves to score last night. And it was just something where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just intertwine both of your fates, and you guys are going to, you're going to kill it together, or you're going to kill me together.
Yeah, there's only two ways that could go, and they both hit on that. So that worked out very, very nicely for you. On the text line, Robert from Surprise again says it was worth $10 and it made the game more interesting, which is, hey, like that's one reason to bet. If you want to make some money, that's a nice thing to do. But like also, you are never more invested in a football game than when you've got money riding on the game. Niner Annapolis says, I know the CMC situation is still a little murky, but man, am I ready to plug him into the Derrick Henry, Saquon almost weekly anytime touchdown parlay, which, yeah, because that's what CMC does. All he does is generate yards and score touchdowns. I think Indianapolis, that's not bad. Sometimes I throw James Cook in there with the Bills because I just think that he's
yeah. I mean, those are very, very reliable props generally. And I mean, to that point, like we pointed out yesterday, Derrick Henry's odds on like an anytime touchdown. I mean, it was like the highest I think I've maybe ever seen this like for a player.
It was like minus 500 or something. Like there was.
I mean, like it's getting up there. I think. I mean, it's like minus 300.
Okay,
somewhere in that
something like that. I think I saw something today that was minus 500. I might be confusing those two things, but yeah, it was an absurd number for a player to score a touchdown, which is a thing that like most NFL players just you can't guarantee that from week to week. Even the best players, you can't guarantee from week to week. And when it comes to the running back position, you certainly can't in today's game guarantee that from week to week. And yet, Derrick Henry is about as reliable as it gets. Saquon Barkley, James Cook, and if Christian McCaffrey is ready to go, and it looks like he might be, there's just not going to be a better and more reliable group of running backs, I think, to kind of throw together as a parlay.
So just want to kind of focus on some Bengals stats here. Joe Burrow, 428 passing yards. He had 56 pass attempts. I mean, another just great area of opportunity to win some bets in the player props market there. Joe Burrow, I want to say on FanDuel, his passing yards prop maxed out at 350 plus, and it was paying like over 6-1. At least the last time that I had looked at it yesterday.
Yeah.
So, if you had just done Lamar 275 plus, Joe Burrow 350 plus, you throw maybe Derrick Henry and Jamar Chase on there for a touchdown. You made out pretty well yesterday during that game. Keon, I think we absolutely have to bring this up. Lamar Jackson had an unbelievable second half of that game yesterday. Didn't manage to get quite 300 passing yards. Nothing as eye-popping as Joe Burrow's stats, but regardless, like his team finished with the win. Lamar had the heroics, in the fourth quarter. The Ravens scored 21 points in the fourth to pull off that 1-point win. And naturally, I was thinking, okay, he's probably separated himself a little bit in that MVP conversation. But then you actually pull up the market and you look at how things are priced now. And we've been following this like throughout the week. It seems like it's changing by the day. If you look at current NFL MVP odds on FanDuel, Lamar Jackson is now the clear front runner. He is priced at plus 170. So just, right in between 1.5, 2-1 odds. Then you've got Josh Allen at double his odds. He's at plus 340 and Patrick Mahomes at plus 500. Is anyone going to be capable of catching Lamar at this point?
It doesn't feel like it. That you would have to have like a monster second half of the season for Mahomes, I think, to catch him, just because that Chiefs offense, and it's not necessarily Mahomes' fault, it's just injuries, but that Chiefs offense has not looked great for much of the season. I would say Josh Allen started off as the front runner, but he's cooled down since then, and he still looks good, and Amari Cooper does help. But Lamar Jackson's playing football on another planet, and I just, until someone cracks that, I don't think that anybody's going to really catch him. And maybe there's a little bit of Commander's bias creeping in, but I think Jaden has a really good chance because of the way they play to just put up video game numbers, which is what it would take at this point to catch Lamar, because Lamar's throwing a lot of touchdowns, and I don't think that he's getting quite the level of credit for this. He's not throwing interceptions. I think he's got 2 this season, somewhere between 2 and 4. I don't remember off the top of my head. He's just protecting the football and making really good decisions with it. So in addition to everything he does to you on the ground, which is where I think the MVP case gets to be too wide for a lot of guys, I think, to catch up, he's also killing you in the air, and he's protecting the football. 9149 says, last night I had a $15 parlay to win $670, and everything hit except I messed up and I put the under instead of the over, which is what I actually wanted to do. And 9149, I'd like a text or nickname from you. It would make things easier. But also, I have fat thumbed my way into bad parlays before, and I I understand.
I've definitely been there. I totally feel your pain on that. It's tough, and sometimes depending on the app, like some of them are like a little more sensitive than others, like on the touch, and it's so easy to like accidentally highlight something that you totally did not intend, and then if you don't catch it like in your bet slip and maybe you're just going a little too fast, all of a sudden.
And then if you're like, so FanDuel, like I kind of hate sometimes the way FanDuel makes you log in every time with the confirmation number. I understand it's a safety thing, but it means I'm less likely to just log in to check how my bets are doing. So you could have a 4-leg parlay that you're convinced is going to hit, everything's going to hit, and then you open it up and you go, no, what did I do? Because you thought you already played the right thing. Yeah, 91-49, really empathize with you there, man. I'm so sorry. Robert from Surprise also says Chase Brown has also been killing it in the touchdown department. So if you want to just throw that in there, he's really come alive lately.
Well, and he's definitely going to pay out a lot better than some of those other guys that
that's
we
the thing
about
is,
too.
is
when you're looking for value on the touchdowns, Chase Brown, that's going to be someone to back there. But going back to what you were saying, Keon, I do actually see Jaden Daniels as someone that has the potential to compete with Lamar for that MVP. And to me, it's almost more about like the narrative behind him and what kind of a case that he'll be able to present by the end of the year, if we're thinking best case scenario. And that's, let's just say the Commanders finish, first place in the NFC East. Perhaps they even have like a top 2 record in the NFC. I mean, if that's how well things go and it's on the back of Jaden Daniels just playing out of his mind as a rookie, like that's the kind of really kind of compelling narrative that someone would need to have to try and, leapfrog Lamar Jackson for that MVP award. They put up this graphic last night during the broadcast, and I'm trying to do my best to find like all the exact stats, and I'm just not finding anything, so I won't be able to speak as in depth about it as I'd like. But they put up this graphic on the Amazon Prime broadcast, and it was basically showing side by side Lamar Jackson's season through week 10 last year compared to this year. And last year he wins the MVP award. This year, all of his numbers in like every single metric that they put up, they were better, which it's just kind of mind blowing. It's like the Ravens have the same exact record as they did through week 10 last year. They're 7-3, but Lamar's passing yards per game is up. His completion percentage is up. His passing touchdowns per game was up. His interceptions per game were lower. His quarterback rating is up. His rushing yards per game, were up. It was just like, I mean, you can't even, make this up. It was almost like some video game kind of statistics that they were throwing out. So, I mean, looking at that and knowing that this guy did worse last year and they still gave him the MVP, I mean, this is going to be tough. That's why I say it's going to require some kind of a really powerful narrative, not just pure stats and numbers alone. This is where a guy like Josh Allen is going to struggle, and a guy like Patrick Mahomes is going to struggle, because you guys have just been very successful for so long that that's like the built-in expectation now of what people expect to see out of you guys when you step onto the field each Sunday. Jaden Daniels, he gets that coming out of nowhere, kind of angle, just that overachieving big surprise, let alone it's a rookie in the MVP conversation. And Keon, we brought this up one time on the show, and I think we looked at it, and like the last time the NFL had a rookie MVP, it was like not in the modern era, if I recall.
Not even close.
Yeah. So I mean, this is just something that is so rare among all professional sports that it could be powerful enough if Jaden Daniels comes through with those Washington Commanders to where like that's the only kind of serious competition that I see for Lamar Jackson for that MVP award. If Jaden isn't coming through like that, it's going to be Lamar's. It's
going to be Lamar. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So I went to Pro Football Reference. I went to Lamar Jackson's last season through first 10 games of the season and just highlighted all of those. So Lamar Jackson last year through 10 weeks of football had, 10 touchdowns, passing to 5 interceptions, and then rushing. He added another 5 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson this year is 24 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And then he's added another 2 touchdowns on the ground. Let's see, if you want to take a look at his completion percentage, Lamar Jackson this year is completing 69% of his passes. Last year, he completed 70, which is one of the things that I think kept him in that MVP race a year ago, which is that he was just deadly accurate with the football. But when you start to look at the his passer rating last year was 98.1. This year it's 123.2. He's basically 30 points better as a passer than he was a year ago. Like there isn't a single metric, whether you look at interceptions, touchdowns, where he just isn't a much improved version of himself from a year ago. And that year ago was an MVP year. I mean, you could look at yards, passing yards per attempt, where he was 7.8 last year. He's up to 9 this year. So every pass he throws is virtually first down on average. Like there's just so many things happening on this offense that like it feels like the Ravens are worse in a lot of ways, but that's because their defense is worse. The offense is better than it's ever been, and Lamar, this is the best he's ever played, and he's already won 2 MVP awards.
So basically, some other NFL player out there has to give the voting panel a pretty good reason to not give this award to Lamar Jackson again, because based on all this that we've covered here, I mean, you've got to just give this guy the trophy right now.
I think it's possible, but I good point here from Robert from Surprise, and we'll get to this text. We'll get Dylan's reaction. We'll go to Alex Kane here in a second, but he says, I think if the Chiefs go undefeated, that's the way that Patrick Mahomes could probably win an MVP, because it'd be very hard to argue, especially if his numbers are good. Like if by the end of the season, he's like around 30 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns, the interception number doesn't get much higher than what it is because it's already at 9. Like that's already not great. But if it doesn't get much higher than that, and he's able to get somewhere in the ballpark of 30, 32, 33 touchdowns and they're undefeated, I do think that that's an avenue for Mahomes to get back into that narrative space and maybe win this award.
I agree. Just being undefeated, that in itself is a powerful narrative. We haven't seen that since, Tom Brady, did it with the Patriots a long time ago. So yes, I mean, to my point from before, that's what it's going to require to challenge these numbers from Lamar Jackson right now. You need to have a powerful narrative to build your case. It can't just purely be on numbers, on wins and losses. Like you have to achieve something really special. So you're either Jaden Daniels just balling out in your rookie season, or you're Patrick Mahomes taking, for most of the season, not one of the better offenses that he's ever worked with, and leading it to an undefeated season. Yes, I think this acquisition of D-Hop is really going to kind of catapult things.
But the fact that you were able to keep the ship steady while you didn't have Rashee Rice, you didn't have Pacheco, like that's gonna mean something.
No Hollywood Brown.
Like that, like you're like all of the weapons you thought you were gonna have, you didn't have. All right. That was a great conversation. Maybe we'll loop back around and talk a little bit more MVP stuff there. Appreciate everybody on the text line making that stuff go. We've got Alex Kane of Sport Trade. He's going to come by, talk to us about some of the new things happening with Sport Trade and that Cardinals win probability contest. We'll get a little bit more into that as well. Send your picks, send your guesses in. We'd love to have them. You're listening to Beat the Book here on 1580 The Fanatic.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
Sports betting apps are not created equal. Dylan Cohen from Beat the Book here to talk about the Sport Trade advantage. With higher payouts, Sport Trade is the ultimate sports betting experience. Sport Trade is the first sports betting app that gives you the option to see the odds expressed as probabilities, and it's changing in-game betting forever. If it's easier to understand 52% probability of winning versus minus 108 odds, then Sport Trade is for you. With this percent odds feature, cashing out now makes much more sense. As the win probability changes, so does the value of your bet. And if you're an experienced bettor and prefer American odds, you'll get pricing closer to minus 106 versus the normal minus 110, coupled with instant in-play betting. No more spinny wheels. So download Sport Trade today to see the difference and beat the book. Use promo code 1580 to earn 10% cash back on every bet you place in your first week. Terms apply.
Sport Trade is regulated by the Arizona Department of Gaming. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
Direct savings and client focus, the cornerstones of the Diamond Dave philosophy.
Hi, I'm Diamond Dave Cantor. My team and I at Desert Wholesale Diamond can be your trusted friends with an inside scoop on the diamond world.
just like they are to thousands of people around the world.
And just like we have been for over 34 years.
At Diamond Dave's, it's all about the diamonds and the savings, not paying for high-end retail locations or the overhead of a mall.
You stand to save big time with our by appointment professional office approach combined with direct importing.
When you choose Diamond Dave's, you choose huge savings, top quality, and excellent service. Call, email, or message us for an in-person appointment.
Or sit back and relax for free FedEx shipping anywhere in the USA.
Call Diamond Dave at 480-397-2450. That's 480-397-2450. Or follow him on Instagram at Diamond Dave Cantor. That's at Diamond Dave, Kantor.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Hi, guys. Jeffrey O'Brien here. Have you ever gone to HarmonSolar.com? Well, you really need to, because everything you ever wanted to know about how solar power can save you big on your monthly electric bill is right there. It's online. Through your phone or through your computer, you can learn about tax credits, the equipment they use, look at how they do things for businesses as well as homeowners, see testimonials from happy customers, and I hear they got a pretty good podcast too. Check it out. Go to HarmonSolar.com. That's HarmonSolar.com.
So, what's your favorite thing about sports? The excitement, the action, or the 5-meat pizza and the six-pack? Bingo. That's what we thought. 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic, and always on at 1580thefanatic.com.
Welcome back to Beat the Book. We're on 1580 The Fanatic. I am your host, Dylan Cohen, and in the control room is my co-host, Keon Rose. And right now we have Sport Trade CEO Alex Kane joining the program to talk a little bit about the latest with Sport Trade and, of course, go over the weekly contest for the Arizona Cardinals game against the New York Jets this coming Sunday. What's going on, Alex? How are you?
What's up, guys? Am I coming through loud and clear?
Yes, sir. We hear you. Appreciate you joining us. How's everything going right now? What's new with Sport Trade in Arizona?
I'll just tell you, I'm so excited for the game this weekend. Talk about the two teams who have been total enigmas this NFL season. You have the Arizona Cardinals and you have the New York Jets. I cannot wait to see what the guesses are for this week's contest.
So we're really excited about it as well. The New York Jets are a team that I'm not going to lie, Keon and I have had a very awesome time just picking on these guys all throughout the season. A lot of crazy storylines coming out of that franchise. A lot of crazy storylines coming out of Arizona with the Cardinals and the kind of season they're having too. So really excited to see those two teams clash. Now, Alex, and I know that you are aware of this, but each week that we've been doing this, we've been getting more and more submissions. So we're getting a larger crowd of people participating because naturally, I think just about anyone would be interested in winning a $100 Amazon gift card and $50 in cash to bet with. Would you mind just explaining for any potential new listeners that might be tuning in right now? Can you just explain how this contest works that you guys run and who's eligible to win and what you ultimately need to do to win that gift card and the cash prize?
Absolutely. So Sport Trade is a sports betting app, and the huge differentiator is we express our odds as probabilities. Honestly, we just think it's a lot simpler to say, okay, Cardinals have a 62% chance of winning. I want to put $100 on that. Or Cardinals have a 10% chance of winning by 8 or more points. I'm going to put $50 on that. And so that's what Sport Trade is. It's on Arizona's newest sports betting operator. The contest that we have is anyone is eligible. You text in, you give them the number, Dylan, and all they have to text is a guess. What will the win probability, so Sport Trade's price, be of the Arizona Cardinals after one half of football against the New York Jets. So right now, the Arizona Cardinals are offered at 46.5%. That's the price right now. You're trying to guess what will that number be after one half of football. The person that is closest with their guess without going over wins a $100 Amazon gift card, plus, if they choose to open a Sports Trade account, which they absolutely should, $50, no strings attached, cash in their Sports Trade bank account.
So there you go. Those are the rules right there. Now, the way that we decide who the winner is, because this has come up a couple of times recently, we've been doing Price is Right rules. So, Alex, would you mind just explaining how that works for how we determine the winner?
Yep. So let's say last week, great example, the Cardinals had an 88% win chance against the Chicago Bears at halftime. In fact, there was a customer that put, I think, $3,000 or $4,000 down at 88% at halftime. Seemed like a high risk bet, ended up winning, betting a lot to win a little. What we do is we take the player that has guessed the closest to that 88% without going over. So if one guess is 80% and one guess is 90%, while the 90% is closer than 80% to 88%, which was the observed win probability at halftime of the Cardinals game, we choose the 80% because of the Price is Right mechanic. So you want to get as close as possible to that number without going over. If you go over, you cannot win.
And to your point there, Alex, so last week, like you said, at halftime of the Cardinals game against the Chicago Bears, the win percentage for the Cardinals at halftime, it was 88%. The winning texter from last week, that was Kringleberry, and Kringleberry's submission, Keon, we said it was 64%?
It was 64%,
Kringleberry. So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about what that number is going to be. What is the percent chance the Cardinals will win the game at halftime of their matchup against the Jets on Sunday? This is the kind of scenario that could potentially play out. That number could be much higher than where anyone guesses it. But in this case, Kringleberry was the closest to that number without going over. So that's why he was able to win with a guess of 64%, even though the actual probability was 88%. So now coming into this week, and like Alex said, if you open up Sport Trade right now, you've got the Cardinals at 46.5%. That is their share price to buy. The Jets are priced at 55% or $55 a share. And, this could be another scenario where the Cardinals might be up at halftime. We've seen this before since we've been doing this contest, and they might have a less than 50% chance to win the game. That's what we saw when they played the Dolphins just a couple of weeks ago. Then the Cardinals come into halftime against the Bears. They're up by multiple scores. That win probability is going to be pretty high. Now, the biggest thing is do not send us 0% and do not send us 100%. Those are not eligible guesses because neither can be true at halftime. So always like to make sure we put that out there. And Alex, you guys have been seeing some increased engagement right now in Arizona since we've been doing the contest?
Totally. I think the beauty of it is that going back to the founding story of Sport Trade, I never understood sports betting. I never understood minus 110 and the hook and the big, if you've seen that movie Hardball with Keanu Reeves, that's kind of how I thought about sports betting. I thought it wasn't for me. And then I saw all of my friends start to use this app called Robinhood about 10 years ago and thought to myself, why doesn't someone build a version of sports betting that's so much simpler? And so that's what we've tried to build with Sport Trade. And the core tenet of that is that the price is the probability. And so as players have been thinking about this contest, and I think, okay, I think the Cardinals are going to do well in the first half. I think they're going to go to a 70% win chance. The next step is going on to Sport Trade and buying the Cardinals at 46.5, which is their current price. Why? Because Sport Trade allows you to sell at that new win probability at any moment in time. So Cardinals march down the field, first drive of the game and score a touchdown. They go from 46 to 66% win chance. And you then have that ability to cash out at that new price. And so we're starting to see more of this activity. We're starting to see bigger bets. If you check out the tape, Dylan, even in the last hour, we're seeing $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7,000 bets. That's a feed of every single bet that's being on Sports Trade real time. The bet I just saw, someone bought, I think, close to $10,000 that Notre Dame would beat Florida State at 96% win chance. So that person's putting down $9,600 to win a measly $400. So Sports Trade allows you to bet on not just NFL, college football, college basketball, point spread, money line, total, player props, futures. You bet anything you can bet on a traditional sports site, but that twist is the price, is the probability.
So I have to say the tape is one of my absolute favorite features about Sports Trade because you just don't see other sports books giving its users the level of transparency that Sports Trade allows, to the point where I can see individual bets made in real time. I can see, which side of the line they're falling on, what the amount was that was wagered. And, even if I want to tail one of these bets, then I have a way to just, swipe right very quickly, go ahead and put in how much I want to wager. And then I can go ahead and put that bet in pretty fast. Keon, it's funny that Alex shouted out that Notre Dame wager, because Keon and I we were looking at that. But since Alex has been on here, there's actually been something crazier that's been happening. I've been keeping my eye on this. There's a lot of money coming in on Memphis college football to cover the 7-point spread. It hasn't come all in on one bet. It's been spread out between like 4 different bets. But in the last 10 minutes, there's been 12 grand put on Memphis to cover the spread. So it's got, and this is the kind of thing. And Alex, I don't know if you guys had this in mind when you guys were creating the tape, but was this to kind of influence people potentially, just to, give them another angle of how to figure out what to bet?
Yeah, again, the thinking was, if you've ever seen the movie Trading Places, unbelievable movie, Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, 1987, Wall Street sort of kind of vibe. Definitely a holiday movie. It's a controversial statement to say that that's a holiday movie, because a lot of people don't think it's a holiday movie. I think it is. Is Sports Trade as an exchange? Okay, so when you think about NASDAQ, or you think about the New York Stock Exchange, when you turn on CNBC or Fox Business, what do you see at the bottom? You see a ticker. That's the ticker. Sports Trade is an exchange, and so we want to give customers, participants, you don't even need to have an account. You can just download the Sports Trade app and see it totally free. We want to democratize that data. We want that data to be everywhere. We don't want that data to just go to one participant. We want that to be available for everybody. And maybe it sparks ideas, but what it definitely does is it gives you transparency. And if you really like a bet and you are logged in and you are in Arizona, swipe right on that Memphis -6 or -7 bet that you just mentioned, and you can copy that bet. And guess what? When you do that, guess what's the next newest bet on the tape? You got it right. Your bet on Memphis -7. So for us, it's all about the ethos of transparency and creating a true marketplace.
Well, and to that point right there, we just had another bet come through, just a little bit over $1,500 going money line on the Phoenix Suns tonight, who are currently priced as underdogs in their matchup against the Dallas Mavericks. That's going to be a big game for everyone out here in Arizona. That one is on ESPN later tonight. Alex, how did you guys do yesterday with the Thursday night football game? That was a game that I have to imagine some people must have done some live trading and had some success with there.
Yeah, what a game last night. What a game. The Cincinnati Bengals hit as high as 85% at one point in the game, which means that the Ravens hit as low as 15%. This is another great thing about probability. You don't really have to try to understand, so the Ravens hit plus 600 and the Bengals, they hit plus 620. Easy. The Bengals got as high as 15, as high as 85%, which means the Ravens got as low as 15%. Our biggest bet on the night, which was in game, was a $5,000 bet on the Cincinnati Bengals at 38%. That customer decided never to sell out. So can you imagine having $5,000 on the line to win close to $8,000 of profit and watching them go for 2 and, of course, eventually not converting? It was a great game, a lot of action. Saw a lot of action on Joe Burrow passing yards. Players were all over Jamar Chase's over. That hit easily. And so it was an amazing game for us for the live betting.
What you just described there is like a scenario that I was thinking of as just kind of like a potential doomsday kind of a situation for someone. And I mean, I've been in that kind of a position myself using Sport Trade to do live bets. And, you know, that's one of the most difficult calls to make is, you know, I'm up in my position. Do I take all my money out, or Sport Trade even allows you to not necessarily take all of your money out? You can do like a partial cash out. Is that right?
You can do a partial cash out. And I think the biggest differentiator, and we're actually releasing a new release to the App Store, I think tonight, where we're actually changing the share price to just be the probability. So instead of the Suns being whatever their price is, $42, it'll just say 42%. We think that's a lot easier. Is that when you go to cash out on Sport Trade, we actually tell you the win probability of your cash out, which is another really important thing to look at and say, okay, I bought the Suns, let's say I bought the Cardinals at 46% chance, and now they're up 10-3 at halftime. There's a 67% chance. Do I want to sell at that price? You get to ask yourself, well, if I think they have more than a 67% chance of winning, I'm not selling this. If I think that their win probability is closer to 50%, then I will sell this. So Sport Trade gives you that critical information. And once again, it's all based on this thing we all think about every single day, which is probabilities.
Well, and there you have it. If you have not been able to check this out yet, download Sport Trade, use promo code 1580 to take advantage of their cashback promotion for new account signups. And even if you just download the app and don't create an account, you can pull up the tape. You can see all of these different bets being placed in real time that we've been talking about here. And maybe you just kind of watch the tape a little bit, wait for some inspiration to come through, and then you create your account, you put your money in, and you start playing. But there's plenty of great games going on tonight, this weekend, certainly on Sunday. To get on Sport Trade, start placing some wagers with, and start betting with probabilities and not the standard American odds. We're tossing all that stuff out of the window. Alex, thank you so much again for joining us. Always great chatting with you, and we will talk again next week.
Awesome, guys. I'll be betting on the Cards this weekend, so best of luck to everyone.
There we go. So there you have it. That was Alex Kane. And again, you can text your submissions for the Sport Trade contest to 888-368-1580. You need to send us what you believe is going to be the win probability percentage that the Cardinals will win the game at halftime of their matchup against the Jets this coming Sunday. So we'll go ahead and accept those submissions all the way through the kickoff of the game on Sunday. You can send those in now. And we got to jump over to a break here. But when we come back, Keon and I are going to talk a little bit more about what you can look to bet on for tonight and for this weekend. We've got NBA on the slate tonight. We've got NFL on Sunday. So a lot more to come. You're listening to Beat the Book on 1580 The Fanatic.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to selectquote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at selectquote.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pegol is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
In most countries of the world, Porte means door. United Porte Custom Doors, located in the Scottsdale Airport Design District, is now open with over 40,000 European doors, all in stock, ready for delivery, and at wholesale prices. Designers, contractors, builders, and yes, you. Come see our showroom on Greenway Hayden Loop. That's United Porte, Porte. Stop by to see and feel the quality at United Porte Custom Doors. Find us at uporte.com. That's uporte.com.
1580 The Fanatic.
So we're starting to get a lot of these guesses rolling, and I see you, 2215. I see you, the fifth letter. The underpainter, I should point out, I do have your guess here. You don't have to put your name under your text. We've got you in the system, my friend, so you can just text, and we'll know that it's you. Baker's Cocky Hens asked a question while Alex was talking, and I didn't really want to bother Alex with the question because I felt like we could probably field this one. He said, shouldn't zero be allowed? Zero is the Price is Right $1 version of this contest. You have to get over zero to be the closest, right? And the answer's no. 1% would be the $1 version. I suppose you could bet 0.5%, but in the same way that if you were guessing something on the Price is Right? Like you're guessing how much a jet ski costs. It can't be $0 because you know they're not giving it away. It's not free. You have to pay something for it. Same thing. You can have next to low odds. You can have next to zero odds of winning a game, but you can't have zero if the game's not over. It's physically not possible for the game to be over at halftime, which is what zero means. Zero means you lost. 100% means you won. You can be 99.99999. You can be 00.000001, but you can't be zero. It's just not. It's not possible. You can't do it. Shooter McGavin said before the interview that I hit a 5-team parlay by the slimmest of margins, and then he sent the bet sheet. Let's see what he had going on here. Parlay, 5 teams, 1 bet, $10. Appy State and Coastal Carolina. Boy, the what is that? Did you take the over on that? Or let's see here.
He's going small school college football.
Yeah, 62.5. Then you got FAU and Eastern Carolina took the over on that. Bengals Ravens took the over on that. Hit it 52.5. Bengals Ravens took the Ravens minus 275, and then took Eastern Carolina in the FAU Eastern Carolina game. Bet $10, won 112. Good for you, my friend. And then Mr. Pink Guy said, going back to our MVP conversation earlier, I think Derrick Henry could challenge for NFL MVP, and he probably could. Like if the Ravens keep winning and Lamar implodes, like that's what would have to happen. Lamar would have to stop playing at the level that he's playing at right now and come back down to earth. And then when you had all that going, then you might have a chance for Derrick Henry to win the MVP. It's not impossible. I think he is in the mix. But if Derrick Henry is playing unbelievable football and Lamar Jackson is playing unbelievable football, you know they're giving that award to the quarterback. You just know they are. All right, Dylan.
So actually, just going back to what Baker's Cocky Hens said, just want to kind of play devil's advocate with this a little bit. Let's just say you think that at halftime this coming Sunday for the Cardinals and the Jets, that the Cardinals win probability is going to be 1%. I mean, if we look back to last week, when at halftime the Cardinals were up 21-9 against the Bears at home, Cardinals were 88% win probability, Bears were 12%. So I'm just thinking about what kind of a lead would the Jets need to have at halftime to give the Cardinals a 1% implied probability? Or maybe you're taking 1% because you think it's going to fall like under 10%, you know, and you're just trying to be that person that's like closest to it. I mean, either team, like to put the other team at such minimal odds at halftime, like you're going to have to be up like probably 4 touchdowns is my guess. And I mean, could the Jets do that? Sure. I mean, we know we know exactly what this Cardinals team is capable of. I'm not going to, try and sugarcoat that in any way, but I mean, lately that's not the Cardinals we've been getting. We've been getting a very successful brand of football out of Jonathan Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals. And I just have a hard time seeing these guys potentially down 4 touchdowns at home, just with the way that they've been playing and with the way that the Jets have been playing this year as well. So, be responsible with your picks. We will let you, change it. If you send something in, then you think about it, you change your mind, you send in another one. No big deal. We'll go with what that, most recent submission is. But these are the things you have to take into consideration, when you're trying to win this. And, going back to the weeks in the past where we've done this contest, like we've had people who are just not Cardinals fans at all. They're really just, fading them and they're just putting in something very low.
There's some haters out there that could have won.
Well,
certain bets, yeah.
I mean, it did lead to one of them winning. I mean, that was Lost Toby.
Lost Toby was being a hater, put in 7% and got himself a nice little win there.
After seeing us do this contest over and over and over, my advice for anyone that does legitimately want to try and win this, you have to try and differentiate your pick. So that more than likely means going somewhere very high on the spectrum or somewhere very low on the spectrum. If you're trying to pinpoint it exactly, somewhere in that neighborhood of 50%, that's going to be the hardest, probability to try and chase. You're better off shooting very low or shooting very high. That seems to be the best strategy to try and win this one. And then, whichever way you go on that, hopefully that's the way it plays out on the field.
So Donnie, by the way, said he was rooting for overtime last night. Donnie had I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leg parlay. 5 of the 6 hit. He had Lamar Jackson 40+ alternate rushing yards. Lamar had 33 yards, just shy. Donnie, what would that have paid out, man? That's brutal.
Does it show the?
I think the way he cropped it, I can't tell. Baker's Cocky Hen says Hassan Reddick will have 12 strip sacks for touchdowns by half. Revenge game. All right. I mean, if you want to go there, I doubt it. I strongly doubt it. And I see you, Swazman. I'm going to go ahead and write down your guess here. But Ringless Joe, before you get to the last thing here, says, do you guys have any good teams for future bets? Let's see. Division winner type picks. We might have to readdress that at a later date. We are running out of time. We've got maybe a couple of minutes left in the show, unless you have something just immediately that comes to mind, Bill.
No, let us get back to you on that one. The NFL is a ever-changing landscape.
Let's get back to that Monday.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say, a long time ago before the season started, if you're on that Beat the Book website, there is an NFL Futures Edition post on there. It was posted in the beginning of September, I want to say. So that Beat the Book website, all the posts are archived. You can go back. You can see everything I've ever posted on there. If you follow me on Instagram, the tag is at Beat the Book Fanatic, all spelled out. You just click on the link in my bio. That'll take you right to the Beat the Book page. You can also get there by visiting 1580thefanatic.com. Click on the Beat the Book with Dylan Cohen logo. That'll take you right to the site where you can see what the picks are for today, for this weekend, for that NFL Futures Edition post way back in the past. I did one for the NBA as well. So there's a lot of stuff on there for a lot of different kinds of markets. But jumping into what we have on our plate for tonight, big basketball game. As I mentioned during that Alex Kane interview, we've got our Phoenix Suns 7-1 record taking on the Dallas Mavericks. And we've been given a nice, generous gift from the sports books. Our Suns are priced as underdogs. So the pick tonight is very simple. Play the Suns on the money line, currently plus 116 on FanDuel. They're going to be right in that 45% probability neighborhood on Sport Trade. So place those bets, count on the Suns to win. Tyus Jones is good for 7 assists. Kevin Durant, look for him to score. Look for him to show us more of those heroics in the fourth quarter and lead us to the victory. Keon, that is all I got.
That's going to do it for us this week right here on Beat the Book. You can keep sending those picks in. We'll try and keep track of them and write them down going all the way up until Cardinals kickoff on Sunday. That is your deadline to get those picks in. What do you think the win probability for the Cardinals is going to be at halftime? And we'll see you all a little bit later. Daily Blender coming up next right here on 1580 The Fanatic.
I'm Red Lewis with NFL Network Now on the